What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be covering Advanced Rifling in CoD World War II. Before we get into this, just want to address the elephant in the room. Drifter has already covered Advanced Rifling, but it turns out actually a lot of his numbers were inaccurate, and I'm going to be making a lot of corrections to that today. And I also just wanted to touch on this topic really quickly because him and I are going to be making similar content. We're going to be covering the same thing very frequently throughout the year. That's just the nature of our channels and how they're built. Keep in mind, he has his style, I have my style, and there's a little bit of redundancy here. If I make mistakes, perhaps he'll pick up on them and he'll end up having the more accurate numbers in his video. And vice versa. If he makes mistakes, then hopefully I will be able to catch those mistakes and present those to you guys. In either case, nobody's copying anybody here. I've got my methods of testing as well as my style of presentation, and he has his methods of testing as well as his style of presentation. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I've been seeing it go both ways already within the community where people say, oh, Drifter copied you with this, or you're just copying Drifter with this. It's not the case at all. There's room for both of us in this community. So let's get into Advanced Rifling. This attachment can be used on SMGs, rifles, as well as shotguns in the game, and we're going to be breaking these down separately because they all have different numbers depending on the weapon class type. Kicking it off with the rifles, these are actually the simplest to cover. All of the rifles, aside from the BAR, get a 100% increase to their range. This means that all of their range values are doubled. And this is how it behaved for a lot of the assault rifles in Black Ops 3 as well. It completely doubles your range. It's extremely powerful on these. But first up, let's have a look at the M1941, the M1 Garand, the STG44, and the SVT40. The reason I group these together is they all drop off at the exact same point. They are different numbers of shots to kill, but what we're just looking at here is where they drop off from their maximum damage to their minimum damage. For all of them, it's at that 50-meter mark. 50 meters is very long in this game. It's fairly rare that you're going to find any line of sight longer than 50 meters. There definitely are some lines of sight out there that do extend past that. But generally, I would say with these particular weapons, Advanced Rifling is absolutely not necessary because you're going to be within its maximum damage range most of the time anyways. Unless you're planning on really hanging back as far as you possibly can. And keep in mind with some of these maps, even if you do that, you're still not going to reach that 50-meter mark. Advanced Rifling really isn't going to be doing anything for you with these four guns. As for the FG42, this one's a little bit different because it drops off a little sooner than those other rifles at 37.5 meters. And with this one, again, most of your gunfights are likely going to be within your standard 3-shot kill range, but it definitely makes a bit more sense to have Advanced Rifling on the FG42 compared to the last ones that we covered. It's not necessary, but there are going to be situations on a lot of these maps where you will be beyond that 37.5 meter mark. Now getting into the one exception with Advanced Rifling for the rifle category, this is the BAR, and as you can see here, it only gets a 30% increase to its range. So with this one, I honestly feel there are better attachments that you could be using on the BAR, but it can definitely help to extend that 3-shot kill potential out a little bit. So overall with rifles, after seeing those ranges, I think I'm going to be passing on Advanced Rifling. I don't think I'm going to have Advanced Rifling on any one of my rifle classes. Getting into the SMGs, this is where Advanced Rifling gets a little bit complicated. So what happens with the SMGs is they get a 25% range reduction, but the first damage drop off that they get doesn't get impacted at all by Advanced Rifling. So just to jump into this so you guys can see what that looks like, with the grease gun, it's a 3 to 5 shot kill. And as you can see here, with Advanced Rifling, your 3-shot kill range isn't changed at all. It remains exactly the same, but your 4-shot kill range is increased by 25%. So the grease gun, I would say it's probably not really worth it to run that Advanced Rifling. Now just to confuse you guys a little bit more, getting into the PPSH, this one's a little different. As you can see here, all of the ranges in core modes are increasing by 25% with the PPSH 41. Now you might be wondering, why is the 4-shot kill range larger with the PPSH 41, whereas the 3-shot kill range wasn't larger with the grease gun? The simple reason for this is the PPSH 41 drops off to a 28 damage range, and this is designed for hardcore modes. So its first damage drop-off range has no impact on core modes whatsoever. It only impacts hardcore. Everything beyond that does get the 25% increase. So in hardcore modes, Advanced Rifling is literally useless on the PPSH 41. In core modes though, it's very good because it impacts all of your damage ranges. And we see the exact same thing with the Type 100 in this game. The Type 100 also has that 28 damage range where it drops off for hardcore, so Advanced Rifling is useless on the Type 100 in hardcore, but it is quite useful in core modes because it increases your 4-shot and your 5-shot kill range. So those were the two exceptions for the SMGs in core modes. When we get into the WAFA 28, as you can see here, our first damage drop-off range is that 4-shot kill potential, so therefore it is unchanged, but we do gain a little bit on our 5-shot kill potential. And it's exactly the same story with the M1928. 4-shot kill range remains the same, 5-shot kill range is increased by 25%. And then finally, with the MP40, just like with the grease gun, your very short 3-shot kill potential is unchanged, but your 4 and 5-shot kill ranges are increased. So it's quite complicated on SMGs, as you can see with advanced rifling. Just know that in core modes, it's a little bit more powerful on the PPSH-41 and the Type 100, but in hardcore modes, for those two weapons, it's absolutely useless to you. Now, one of the big questions I get is, how does this interact with the suppressor? Well, it's actually a pretty straightforward formula. For all of the ranges where you would normally gain range with advanced rifling, so the ranges that are actually changed, you get a net 12.5% reduction to your standard range if you stack advanced rifling with suppressor. So the suppressor does overpower advanced rifling a little bit, but you don't really lose too much range from your base range if you stack these two together. Moving on to the shotguns, it's quite interesting with the shotguns. It seems like it would be an excellent attachment to pop on shotguns to increase your kill potential with them. But based on all my testing, as well as my referencing to the kind of rough, hard stats that we have right now, they're a little ambiguous at the moment, so I really had to rely a lot on my hand testing for this one. Advanced rifling will increase the range that you're able to hit enemies, but it doesn't seem to have any impact on your maximum damage ranges based on my testing. So what this means is, with the combat shotgun for instance, my 1-shot kill potential seems to be exactly the same with or without advanced rifling. I tested this multiple times, and I honestly couldn't find any difference whatsoever in my 1-shot kill range. However, I'm able to get a hit marker at a longer distance with this gun. Realistically though, you aren't going to be trying to get that longer range hit marker with a gun like this. You're trying to get within the 1-shot kill potential. So essentially, advanced rifling on the combat shotgun, absolutely not worth it. There are better attachments out there to be using. The one exception I feel to this is the toggle action shotgun. Now, it's the same sort of story. It doesn't seem like advanced rifling changes your maximum damage range, at least not to any noticeable extent whatsoever, even with careful testing. But with this one, with it being a semi-auto, sometimes it is kind of nice to just get that hit marker at the longer ranges because you can follow it up with several more shots afterwards. So advanced rifling is arguably useful on the toggle action, but I would say it's not useful on any of the other shotguns in the game. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully I didn't make it too complicated for you guys. I wanted to go into great detail so you guys have all the numbers on that and they are perfectly accurate and in line with the hard-coded stats. My conclusion on this is advanced rifling isn't really all that great in this game. It's okay on some of the SMGs. If you really want to be challenging people at extremely long ranges on certain maps with rifles, then sure, it's useful on a bunch of those. And with shotguns, aside from the toggle action, I would say it's pretty much a waste of an attachment. So I would say advanced rifling is one of those attachments where, yes, it can help in some very specific situations sometimes, but if you never put it on any one of your classes, you wouldn't be missing out too much. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.